What's up, everybody? Welcome to Best Massage Tech, where today I'm taking a look at the second generation RecoveryAir Pro. So Therabody just announced their second generation of RecoveryAir devices, and for those of you that have been following my channel for a while, you'll know that the first generation RecoveryAir Pro was my absolute favorite compression recovery boot. So I'm really excited to see what changes they've made with the second generation. And so in today's video, I'll start by taking a look at what comes with the RecoveryAir Pro second generation out of the box. What are the specifications and features of this device? And then what are my overall thoughts after using it? When you first open the box, you're gonna see two pouches. The first, which looks like this, it has the Therabody patch stitched onto the front of it. This is about 12 inches wide by 9 inches tall. It is a drawstring pouch with some little plastic cinches on it. Inside of this is actually going to be the pump unit itself, which is much sleeker looking than the first generation pump. This pump, I'd say it's about 9 inches wide by 5 inches tall. It weighs just under 5 pounds at 4.72 pounds. On the top of it, you're gonna have a shiny plastic interface with two buttons. So the first big button just has 4 different arrows with a dot in the center. And then on the right side, you have a button that just has a play and pause. On the front side of it, you've got engraved into it the Therabody RecoveryAir Pro. You've got 2 spots for your boots to plug into or your other attachments. On the side, you have a power button and a charging port. And on the back side, there is a handle built into it that you can easily carry this. So this is what the pump unit looks like. The next pouch you see is actually much larger. It looks like this. It is very similar in material. It's got the same Therabody patch stitched on the front, the same drawstrings on the top. Now inside the center of this, there is a little fabric divider. And inside of this pouch is your boots themselves. So inside the pouch, they will look like this when they are all folded up. After you unfold them, you do have both boots that look like this with a bunch of different branding on them compared to the first generation. So you've got the Therabody logo here. You've got some little elastic straps here just with some accent colors on it. As you get down toward the bottom of the boot, you've got some blue accent on the end of the hose. You have another elastic strap here with the RecoveryAir logo on it. Some little accent stitching on the front of the boot. You have blue zipper that runs down the entire front of the boot. On the bottom of the boot, you have the Therabody logo screen printed on, and then on the side of the boot, you have the Therabody logo screen printed on. These boots also have a nice little zipper, again with the blue accent and a little plastic handle, and then the back side of them has a hook with the size indicator on them. Now this is a 4-chambered boot. The boots do have overlapping chambers in them, so you're gonna have 1 chamber in the foot, 1 in the calf, 1 in the knee area, and then 1 in the upper thigh. So that's what comes in the 2 pouches that you first see. The next thing that you'll see underneath the boots is a little envelope that looks like this, kind of the little standard envelope or box that comes with all Therabody products. Inside of this is just the instruction manual. It is a full instruction manual that fully tells you about all aspects of the device. So definitely read through this if it's your first time using one of their products. And then the next thing that you'll see right next to that is just another box with the charging cord in it. So this is a battery powered device, so you do need to charge it before your first use. Fortunately, mine came fully charged out of the box. So this is what the charging block looks like and the cord. It does come with 2 different adapters. So you have an Australian adapter and then a United States adapter. In order to plug these in, it's real easy. You just press them onto the front of it, and then if you do want to change it, you just press this button on the bottom side of it, and you can easily swap these out if you need to, if you're traveling or if you're going to different countries. So that's what that looks like. In order to plug this into your device itself, it is just the small little port below the power button. So you just plug it in there and then you can easily charge it. Now, one thing that's different from the first generation is that the first generation had a flip power switch, and you actually had to power it on in order to get the battery to charge. So the battery was actually separate from the unit, so you could actually turn off any power to the battery. This does not need that, so you can just go ahead and plug it in and it will charge on its own. The last thing you get, which is inside the box with the charging cord, is a small little blocker plug. This is something that the first generation Pro had as well. This is just designed if you only want to use 1 attachment. you can actually plug in and block off one of the airways with this blocker plug. So that's the last thing that comes with it. You do not get a true case with this device, so you just have the 2 carry pouches. So there's not a case overall that you can put everything in, but everything does fit in those 2 little carry pouches if you're interested in taking it around anywhere. So now I'll talk a little bit more about some of the specifications and features of these. So going back to the boots do come in 3 different sizes. So I'm about 5'9" and I have the medium boots, but they do also have a small and large boot. And I will just go ahead and overlay the different sizes here. So you do have to pay attention, make sure you're looking at both inseam and your width of your legs to figure out which ones are gonna fit best for you. But for me at 5'9", these are just a little bit long for me in medium, but I do think it is the best size for me. And just for reference, I have a 32-inch inseam. And then in terms of the pump, it does come with 17 different pressure settings. They're gonna range all the way from 20 to 100 millimeters of mercury in pressure. That's gonna go in 5 millimeter mercury increment settings. So you'll be able to go just slowly up for each individual chamber. It does come with 4 preset modes. Those modes are warm up, recovery, isolation, and interval. And then they do have a 5th mode that's called Pro mode, which allows you to fully customize your routine from the fill cycle to the pressure to the time to the release to the hold. You can really change the gradient. You can do literally everything in this Pro mode. So really get down to a lot of customization for your individual routine and what your needs might be for using a device like this. Now this is a Bluetooth compatible system, so if you do have the Therabody app, you can go ahead and connect this device to it. However, unfortunately, this device did only come out about 3 weeks ago and they have not yet updated their app for this system. So I'm not gonna be showing any of that in the video today. However, what I know based on the 1st generation devices is that it allows you to customize your routine even more with the app. So you can get down to actually 1 millimeter of mercury difference in between individual chambers. You can control a whole lot of different things within the app specifically. Unfortunately, I just won't be able to show any of that today, but just know you can do almost everything without the app. It's just a little bit less precise when you don't have the app. So you can do almost everything on the system itself, and it does allow you to get very precise and very accurate with your routine. And then the last thing I'll mention before I actually go ahead and put these boots on is, again, this is a battery powered device. They do recommend that you fully charge it before the first use. It does take about 5 to 6 hours to fully charge if the battery is dead. Once it is fully charged, you're gonna get about a 4-hour battery life out of this. And that's gonna vary depending on what pressure setting, how long you're using it, how continuously you're using it. But overall, you're gonna get a lot of uses out of this for 4 hours. For me, I typically only go about 30 minutes at a time, and I am typically charging my device in between, so I haven't had a situation over the last couple weeks that I've had this where this device has gone fully dead. However, I have found that the battery has held up pretty well when I've been using it just for 30 minutes. It's gonna allow you to vary the timing on an individual session from 10 minutes all the way to 90 minutes in 5-minute increments. You do also have the ability to go into continuous mode, depending on what mode or pattern you select. So if you actually select the interval mode, you can set it for like an 8-hour session and it's set it to turn off for an hour. So if you are someone that's gonna be using this more for a medical purpose, if it's lymphedema or some sort of fluid related issue, you can wear these for a longer period of time and it'll actually cycle through and turn off for longer periods of time than the individual session times. So with all those specs being covered, I will go ahead and show myself plugging these boots in and putting them on now, and then just talk a little bit about what I'm feeling going through a session. So in order to plug your boots into your system, you wanna take the end of your hose, which is gonna have the Therabody logo. That's the side you wanna have facing up. You then take your system and you just line the 4 holes up and press it in until you hear a click. They will lock into place then. Again, you wanna have the Therabody writing on the top. I will go ahead and turn the device on then. So if you just press and hold the power button on the side, you will see that it's gonna light up here with the Therabody logo. And then you've got your pressure settings and your time settings on there. So you can cycle through all the different modes just with the arrows here. Very easy to use. You've got the recover, warm up, and just the rest of the routines here. If you wanna go into a specific routine, you just press the down arrow and you can go down and select from a couple different settings. So you can adjust pressure, time, hold, release, the gradient, lock screen, or you can reset all the routines. So I'll try to show this with a different angle. So once you've played around with it for a little bit and you're ready to go ahead and actually start your routine, you can go ahead and put your boots on. So once you have your boots on, they should fit very comfortably. You see mine come all the way up to my groin. Your toes shouldn't be hanging out on the end. You wanna make sure you're wearing something comfortable, so you don't want anything that's got buttons or zippers that are gonna press into your legs. Now the one thing that's unique about the Therabody boots is that the hoses come through the feet. A lot of other systems, the hoses come through up by the thigh, which does make it a little easier to be sitting on the hoses, but Just make sure you're not sitting on the hoses, make sure nothing's crossed over. There is no difference between the left boot and the right boot. You can swap them either way. You just want to make sure that they are plugged into your system and they're both locked in and ready to go. So when you are ready to go ahead and start a routine, you just go ahead and press the play button. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the recover routine. I have the pressure set to 85 and the time set to continuous. And I'm just gonna go ahead and press play, and it will start to fill. And it's gonna show you a little graphic on the screen just as the fill is going on each individual chamber. And I'll try to show that with a different angle here as well, just so you guys can see what I'm looking at specifically here. And it is a little bit difficult to show just with the glare on the screen here, but you can see it's just showing the fill. It is filling my feet. Now what I'm feeling on my feet right now is there is air on the left side, the right side, and the bottom. So there's basically 3 different panels that are all filling with air inside that foot chamber. Now, one thing about the way these fill, it is one of the fastest fill cycles out of all the compression boots that I've reviewed. They call it fast flush technology. Again, the chambers are overlapping, so the fill is really smooth. It almost feels like you're squeezing a tube of toothpaste, so there's actual fluid in there moving up. So it's real comfortable squeeze all around your legs. Again, the other thing that's unique about the Therabody products is that they do have a true negative gradient compression. So what that means is that the pressure in the most distal chamber is always going to be slightly higher than the next proximal chamber. So if the pressure in my foot is 90, the pressure in my calf is going to be 89. And that's just to ensure that there's always a higher pressure and that fluid is always moving towards your core. And as it does get up to your groin here, you're going to start to get a little bit of a tingly feeling. It's just fluids coming back to your body. It feels very good, very relaxing. You're not going to feel anything drastic like, oh my gosh, this is, I'm immediately recovering, but it's just a nice gentle massaging pattern. They call it compression massage. So it's activating your muscles, it's activating your lymphatic ducts, and just getting everything to gently move back to your core. Once it is fully filled, it's gonna hold for a few seconds. Mine's set at 5 seconds, so it'll hold for 5 seconds and then slowly release. And it's just a gentle release with gravity. And I do have my release time set to 10 seconds. Once that 10 seconds is up, it's gonna start to fill again. Once you're done with your routine, you can just go ahead and press pause. If you wanna change routines after you've paused, just press and hold the play pause button and it'll cancel out of the current routine you have selected. You can go back and select another routine. Once you are done, you do just really have to rely on gravity for the air to come out. So I typically will take the boots off and let gravity do that. There is no sort of active deflate. But with that being said, I'll talk a little bit about my experience with using this and then provide some final thoughts. So that's just a quick overview of the 2nd generation RecoveryAir Pro. If you're interested in purchasing these, they are about $1,300. If you are interested in purchasing them, I encourage you to reach out to me at bestmassagetechnology@gmail.com. It does come with a 2-year warranty. A couple of the things about these is that because this is the Pro unit, it is also compatible with their pants, vest, and sleeves attachment. Those attachments are not all compatible with any of their other generation devices. Those attachments are not compatible with the Prime or the JetBoot, so if you're interested in those, you do need to make sure you get the Pro unit. And overall, if I were to offer my thoughts on this device, I'll just say I'm a little bit disappointed. With the new device coming out, I was expecting some new features, but really a lot of the changes are just cosmetic. So you've got a sleeker looking unit, you've got some sexier looking boots with a lot more branding. They switched from gray to black with those boots and put a lot more Therabody and accent colors on it. But I will say the one thing that is different is that the control unit is much easier to use than the previous control unit. Just having the arrow button makes it a lot more intuitive on how you want to change things. So I will say there is a good upgrade there, and unfortunately without being able to see the Bluetooth compatibility, I don't know if there's some different components that they've built in through the app that you couldn't do with the 1st generation. But that being said, well, the 1st generation is still available for sale right now. I think right now it's about $1,000. So I think it's definitely a great deal. Now, obviously with them releasing a new generation, they probably won't continue to service that and upgrade the app and things like that. So a little bit of a risk there if you're concerned from a Bluetooth compatibility standpoint with the 1st generation. But if you are just looking to save a little bit of money, you're not getting much difference between the 1st generation and the 2nd generation, other than a little bit of an ease of use on the control unit itself. In terms of other things that I like about this device, really it's kind of everything. I love how customizable it is. I love how accurate you can get down to the pressure in individual chambers and adjust the gradient and change the fill patterns and change the hold time and the release time, and just, it's really, really intuitive. It's just really, really customizable depending on what your needs are. If you're using it for a quick recovery or a quick warm-up, all the way to if you're using it for a medical condition that you have poor circulation or something that a device like this is needed for you from a medical standpoint, this device is going to be able to help you. And obviously that is why it's designed as a pro level device. It's going to be used in a lot of medical grade settings, whether that's a therapy office or a clinic or maybe even a nursing home or post-surgery in a hospital. But overall, I just do really like everything about it. And I do actually like the changes that they've made from a look standpoint. It just makes it look like a more premium device and a less medical looking device. So just a little bit of an upgrade there that I do enjoy. In terms of some things that I think they could improve, I do wish that when they announced the product and rolled it out that the Bluetooth was ready on it. So the fact that I've had it now for 3 weeks, going on almost a month, that I'm still not able to check out those Bluetooth compatibilities is a little bit disappointing from that sense, but I know that I'll be able to access those eventually, and I know based on the previous generation that I am going to be impressed by it, but it just sucks that I'm not able to show it here in this video right now. The next thing would be that it still doesn't have any sort of active deflate function, so I do wish that there was just a way to reverse the pump and suck all the air out. There's a couple other devices that have added that component in, and it's something that I mention in a lot of my reviews, but just something little they could have added. You know, I would have expected some improved technology, and that's something that I would have hoped for, but unfortunately we don't get that. In terms of the pump unit itself, while it is really nice to have the colored screen that's got sort of this real sleek look, it does show fingerprints really easily and it collects dust really easily. I find myself having to wipe it off just because I'm a little bit ADHD when I can see all the fingerprints on it. So a little bit frustrating there that it shows fingerprints so easily. I'm not sure if there's a different surface they could have used on this that would have given it the same aesthetic appeal, but just know it does show fingerprints a lot and it does easily collect dust. So I have to wipe this off after almost every time I use it just because I get so annoyed being able to see all the fingerprints on it. And then the last two things I would say that just bother me a little bit is the price. I still think the price is a little bit too high. I think $1,000 is really the price point that these products should be aiming for to get under. So at $1,300, yes, it's certainly great and all the capabilities, but I do wish that it was a little bit cheaper. Now, that being said, since Therabody acquired Recovery Pump, this same system was about $1,800, so they've already brought the price down quite a bit simply by acquiring the company and just changing some of the marketing and parts on it. So, you know, obviously a benefit there, but I do think that price can come down a little bit. And then just the last thing, I do wish there was just one case that everything would fit in. It doesn't need to be anything that's overly huge. I just think a nice backpack would definitely fit everything. Now the carrying pouches are definitely a nice little addition, but even with the carry pouches, there's no handle on the pouch, so you do just kind of have to carry the pouch by the top of it. So not a huge benefit there other than it is going to help protect your device if you're putting it in a different bag. So overall, those are just my quick thoughts on the second generation RecoveryAir Pro. If you guys have specific questions about this device, please go ahead, put them in the comments down below. I always do my best to try to answer those questions. If you guys like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you like videos like this, I have new videos all the time with different products as they're released. Consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell so you get notifications when new videos are uploaded. Otherwise, that is the RecoveryAir Pro. That's a review. Enjoy your recovery.